Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to EdTechTeam's Teaching and Learning May webinar. Our topic this evening or this morning or this afternoon, wherever you might be, is Chromebooks as Tools for Creativity. So I'm Lisa Thuman. I'm the Senior Director for Teaching and Learning for EdTechTeam, and I've got some really great guests with me tonight. I'm going to go through our slide deck. So you can find everything that you need for tonight at EdTechTeam, edtech.team/creative Chromebooks. So I have with me tonight Amanda Taylor, who actually just recently joined EdTechTeam full-time from California, Chris Moore from Denver, Colorado, and Austin Houp from Ash Grove, Missouri. I'll try to say that right. You will find everything that you need, everything that Amanda and Austin and Chris are talking about this evening at edtech.team/creative Chromebooks. There's also a form in that slide deck for you to fill out to win a free online course valued at $149 from EdTechTeam Online. And I'll be randomly selecting the name of the winner at the end of our time together. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to ask Austin Houp from Ash Grove, Missouri, to talk a little bit about how he uses Chromebooks for creative uses with students. And let me stop screen sharing there in Austin and switch over to you.
Awesome. Great. Well, hey, glad to be here. So like I said, my name is Austin Houp. I'm from Ash Grove, which is a small town in southwest Missouri. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Technology for the district. And so today I'm going to be talking about Book Creator, which is an app that we've been using a little bit more here recently. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share here so you guys can see what it looks like, but you guys can also follow along on the slide deck as well. And so when we look at some of the things I have up here, and then I'll show you what the website looks like, and so you can start messing with it yourselves. Book Creator is a web-based program that you can use on Chromebooks and on iPads, and this is their main page. And whenever you look for creating with this, you can be both a teacher and a student. And as a teacher, you can set up a classroom where your students can begin creating these books. And here's what it looks like when you go to create your classroom. When you look at, just a preface on this, it is a freemium program where you can get 40 books for free, and then past that at cost. But we can talk how to kind of use that best in your classrooms later on. But so you create your class, and then your kids can begin creating books. So one of the reasons why I love Book Creator so much is it hits so many different standards in whatever state you're at for all different grade levels, because you're going to be dealing with reading informational text. You can be dealing with writing and with language and listening, all of these different types of standards. And so some of the things that I am the most stoked about to show you today will be when you can use Book Creator and AutoDraw to do some cool things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to Book Creator so you can see kind of what it looks like. And when you're on that main page, you can come up here and you can either choose iPad where you can download it as an app, or as I'm running right now on a Chromebook, I'll just hit Chrome. And what will happen is it will take you to where you can be working on it. Don't know where it went here, but and where did it go? I apologize. Oh, lost my classroom. So, but anyway, when you are on it, you can be doing things like creating. And so what I did here is to show you, I had created a book and I used a thing called AutoDraw. And AutoDraw is this technology that Google's been playing with where you can draw, and you can see right here my beautiful drawing that I did actually using a trackpad. And then what happens is it gives you predictions across the top with AutoDraw, and then you can export them into Book Creator. And then within Book Creator, you can download these images onto the book, and boom, you have these images that are now in your book. And then you can even do things like have kids record audio on it. And so what a lot of times what I have some of my teachers do, specifically within the elementary level, is that kids will create their books and then they'll put text in it. And then I have them record the audio of their own writing. So that way they can be both working on their speech, and then at the same time, they can have questions involved where then they can be working on the listening part there of Book Creator. So it's a great program that you can be using that works on, like I said, both Chrome base, and it works on iPads as well. And it's something that has been really neat within our classroom.
Thanks, Austin. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, actually, can we take a moment for you to speak now about the Chromebook parts and maybe tell everybody just real quick about your student team?
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever a few years ago, we created a student repair team to be able to repair Chromebooks for our school district. We're a small school, we're poor. And so anyway, so we created the student help desk to help repair our Chromebooks. And so from that experience, we were able to help with Mario Venturino and a couple other people to create a Chromebook repair, student repair course that you guys can take. And so, you know, that is definitely one of the ones that I would highly suggest that if you win this free course, that you would do that. One of the cool things that'll happen is if you complete the course, you'll actually get a free $50 gift card to Chromebookparts.com, where you can order parts for your Chromebooks. So, and real quick, I do want to show the website link that I didn't get pulled up just a second ago, but I do want to show it to you guys for Book Creator is app.bookcreator.com/sign-in. And then that's where you can do your sign-in that I was trying to do a few moments ago. So.
Thanks, Austin. And actually, Meredith is in the chat. They have 35,000 Chromebooks in their district. One of her questions was about Book Creator. Can kids drop in photographs, images, and write personal narratives?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you're in there, like you can actually import images, you can put text. There's a whole slew of different things that they can do within it. They can do multiple different pages of their book. And so one of the ways that some people have used that 40 book max for free per teacher is that after the kids finish a book, they'll export it as a PDF. So they'll have that copy of it, but then they'll delete it. So now they have another one that they can use. So, but yeah, you can do all those things, include text. And like I said before, you can also do the audio as well.
That's great. And my colleague, Michelle Armstrong's asking what grade levels for the student repair teams?
Yeah, so the student repairs for our district specifically, we do it as a 9-12 repair team. But I know of a lot of other schools, whenever I've talked to other schools, they'll actually do it as far down as 5-12. And it just kind of depends on whether or not you have a staff member who can be there consistently with the kids. And for our district, because I'm a district employee, it's hard for me to be there every day. So it just works better for us to do it as a 9-12. But it's definitely something that can work for 5-12.
Thanks. Thanks, Austin.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quick screen share again here. And for those folks that were just able to join us in the last few minutes, you can find all of the resources that Austin just shared and that our next panelist is going to share at edtech.team/creative Chromebooks. There's also a form there for you to fill out to win a free online course with EdTechTeam. It's valued at $149. We have courses in math for G Suite, in all the G Suite tools. We also have the course that Austin was just talking about, that Chromebook repair course. So you definitely want to fill out that form. Our next speaker is my newest colleague. Amanda Taylor joined EdTechTeam last month. Full-time. So I'm really excited for Amanda to share some of the creative uses she's been using with Chromebooks and students. So let me stop screen sharing and turn it over to Amanda.
Thanks, Lisa. So one of my favorite ways to use Chromebooks is with Google Slides and Google Drawings. When I first switched over to to Chromebooks 2-3 years ago. I'd never used one before, and I was given one. It was the only device I had, and I was struggling at first because I kept looking for a replacement for Microsoft Publisher. That was the tool that I used frequently before I left the classroom back in 2009. And then I discovered Google Drawings. And Google Drawings has all of the tools in it that you need to be really creative on the Chromebook. There's so many great different applications out there, but if you're really wanting to focus just on G Suite, which obviously all Chromebooks have, then Slides and Drawings is going to be the place for you to go. So am I sharing my screen, Lisa? Yeah, okay, good. So the big thing that I want to point out before I show you some of my examples is that Drawings and Slides have the exact same toolbar. You can add shapes and text and images regardless of which application you're using. The biggest difference between the two is that Drawings is a single canvas and Slides is a multiple canvas. So for example, with Slides, I can do something like Pac-Man animation or any sort of stop motion animation because I've got multiple slides. But Drawings is really good for one thing at a time, like comic book strips. If I were to be doing this with a class and I want all of their comic book strips to be on the same document, then I would give them a slide and then every student would populate their own slide. So I've really enjoyed being able to create things using Google Drawings and Google Slides. So the toolbars are exactly the same. You've got some really interesting tools that you can do with different shapes and different lines. There's one of my favorites is actually the polyline. If I can't find a shape that I like, I can make it myself. So sometimes I'll even put a picture on my screen and then I'll use the polyline tool to draw on top of it. And then once it's there, I can adjust all the different points. This is actually how people make pixel art. I think Chris is going to show that next, so I won't steal that thunder from him. But lots of really cool things you can do just with those few little tools down there. So the biggest way to modify Drawings and Slides after you learn the toolbars is with the page setup. So most of us are familiar with the basic Google Slides, PowerPoint style setup. But if you go to File and Page Setup, and I won't change it, Lisa, don't worry. If you change it from here to Custom, you have all of these choices here. So this is in inches, but I can change it to pixels, points, centimeters, whatever size works for you. And you can do some really interesting things. So like a banner, for example, would be 1200 by 800 pixels. It's actually how I make custom Google Classroom banners and custom Google Forms banners. A comic strip could be 1200 by 800 pixels, or maybe 1200 by 300 if you're doing a single strip. And then maybe an ebook. An ebook would be more like 1410 by 2250. So different things. So for example, this is the comic strip template that I added for you guys. There's a ton of stuff if you search online for it. These are two that I just made yesterday. So you're welcome to make a copy of those. And it looks really similar, but I just adjusted it a tiny little bit. And all this is the background of this slide is black, and all of these individual boxes are white. So once I'm here, I can go to Insert, and I can go to Image. I know a lot of people love to use Bitmoji when they're using Google Slides and Google Drawings. It's a little bit harder for the younger students because you have to have certain social media accounts. So I can do search web, and if I want to do a comic strip about maybe being in New York City. So there's a good one. So I can insert that picture, and then it's going to take a second to load. So here's my picture, and now I just need to resize it so it can fit into this space. And the other cool thing I love about Slides and Drawings is the crop feature. So this magic button right here allows me to crop my image without distorting it. So I can pull it in without resizing it all funny crazy. It even has a mask option. Let's see if I can get that in there. There we go, that's good enough. And so now I have my New York City background, and then I can add other pictures into each one of these boxes. The one on the bottom has a white background, and I already added some callouts. So these are great templates just to give your students, and then just let them go, let them get started with it. Trackpads are great for fine motor development. One of the biggest things that when I was in the classroom teaching as an ed tech coach was making sure that students knew how to use the trackpad correctly. You can give them a mouse and that kind of bypasses it, but teaching them how to utilize it and be more efficient with it, I think is worth the time. And doing something like those comic strip templates gives them the ability to practice with that. So the other really fun thing that I like to do, and it's kind of silly, but this is the kind of thing that my 5-year-old son just absolutely loves and adores. He likes to make stop motion animation. It's really fascinating for him. So I made this with Google Slides. And basically it's a lot of copying and pasting and a lot of moving things around. So this is the file, and I linked it. If you click on the slide in the video in slide 27, it'll actually take you to the presentation. It's view only, but you're welcome to make a copy of it and you can mess with it however you want to. So I did, this one was 73 slides. And it actually only took me about an hour to do once I figured out what I wanted to do. All it is just me moving things and making things smaller, moving them across the screen really, really slowly. Again, it's that they get to be creative. They also get to work on trackpad skills. They get to tell a story, which is part of kids showing creativity, however that is. The big trick with this to get it to show, how do I get it from here to here? You go to File and Publish to Web. And then you get this link right here. And that link, I actually pulled it out for you bigger so you could see it. The link has a number in it. So usually the default option is 3000. And what that is it's 3000 milliseconds. So you actually want that number to be lower. So the lower the number, the faster the slide. So I changed mine to 100. And so my publish to web link is this. And then when I take that and I throw it into a new window, it's going to give me my full animation. And if I wanted it to be slower or faster, I could just adjust that number. And there it is. So I think that's all I have, Lisa.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally blown away. I thought Austin showed awesome stuff, and now yours on top of that. And I went out of order and I skipped over Chris. So we're going to have to backtrack and go. I was just so excited to hear what everyone had to say. Amanda, yeah, it's really great. I'm looking for questions from the chat, but it's not really questions. It's just this is what I'm doing, and I can't believe there was change the master slide and to change the speed, and people didn't realize that you could go into page setup and change the sizes. So thanks, Amanda. I'm gonna quick screen share again, and this time maybe I'll go in order. So most of you have been with us now for at least a few minutes, and you know that the slides that Chris and Austin and Amanda have been sharing can be found at edtech.team/creative Chromebooks. This is going to be your few minutes warning to fill out that form there to win a free online course. And I believe we have a course on slides and drawings. So that might be a good one to win tonight. And without further ado, sorry again, Chris, for changing the order on you. But Chris has some amazing things to share. I think I saw Flipgrid coming up for the Chromebook. Chris is from Colorado. And Chris, I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing and hand things over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Excellent. Okay, so let's see. I want to go ahead and just tell a little quick story, actually. I was a 5th grade teacher forever, and then I was trying to get my student teacher a job. And while I was doing that, I found out about this great position where I would be able to be a technology teacher and basically get to kind of do my own thing. And so that's basically what I've been doing. And so now, let's see if I can get this to work right. I'm going to try to share. Okay. Okay, so is the screen share working?
Yes, it is.
Fabulous. All right, so this is this is the blog that I use, or at least a screenshot from the blog that I use. And basically what happens is in my classroom, I teach 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade technology now. And so the blog, you can go check it out. There's plenty of great stuff there. This is a picture here of my little Symbaloo. And so everything that I do is choice-based in my classroom. Students come in and they're able to work on different things from different classes, or choose things that are more technology-based. And then the only assignment my students ever have is their portfolio. So over here on the right, you can see a bunch of their portfolio links. So when students come in, they're working basically on that portfolio, but it's completely choice-based. And so they get to work on pretty much whatever they want. When we first got started, excuse me, when I first got there, the kids thought that their tech class was basically free time. And so I told them, I'm just going to help you guys do free time right. And we started off actually in Google Drawings. So a couple things here. This first image is just an interactive Google drawing. And what they've done here is they've used the full space and they've put in a whole bunch of great things. But what we've got is a whole file folder full of these. These were made by Joseph is his first name, and I'm scared I'll mess up his last name. But essentially what you have here, you can share these through Google Classroom or whatever. These little files are these interactive drawings. And so you can create them, or you can just take the ones that are already made for you. And you create essentially what amounts to like an interactive worksheet, but kids can turn it in and share it in a bunch of different ways. And that's kind of where I started with kids. But what ended up happening was they started getting interested in lots of other things. Can I play this video here for a second? So what this is a video where they're doing the vector art. So they've taken an image of Dr. King, and then they're very slowly starting to find the different parts and pieces and basically trace them. And then that ends up becoming a really detailed picture of Dr. King. When I started doing this with students, we started off much simpler. We didn't start off with portraits. We started off with things like the Nike swoosh, or a simple cartoon character. And it's really challenging, actually, to do the tracing. And it turned out that really, I found out my kids were really good at starting projects, not so good at ever sticking with things. And so that drawings job became an interesting one, because they started to really get interested and really stick with the problems that were really frustrating them. And if we have some time at the end, I'll dig back into that and I'll show you some of the ins and outs of that. But after we were working with drawings, the next thing that got important for my kids was just doing all sorts of different art. They were really into it. And so we started playing with a lot of different tools. And so I've got all these images are linked up, and we can share the links. CoSpaces EDU is a tool that allows you to essentially create 3D environments. And so kids have a lot of fun with that. I think a lot of people are familiar with Canva, where you can go in and do a lot of style design, things like that, make really great invitations or like notes home. And students have a lot of fun working with those. We really had a lot of fun with Weave Silk, which is kind of like my quiet time activity when kids are trying to just kind of chill out and relax a little bit. A lot of fun. And again, if we have some time, we can go in and play with all of these different tools a little bit. We also started getting into 3D design because we got a 3D printer. And so played with Tinkercad a little bit, which is what we used to design 3D things to be printed, but ended up just using a lot of them on our portfolios as images. And so, like I said, maybe once we get through these, we can just kind of go and maybe dig into one or two of them. My students also had a great time with music. So McGlonemusic.com is my music teacher's website. There's a bunch of great things on there. Just wanted to share some of the things that are available to you. So a lot of people know about Soundtrap. This is a great tool for creating music using loops. Really great tool for creating podcasts, which is awesome. We've also got a couple different things on here. Soundation is a similar tool where you can be creating music. Noteflight and Flat are actually notation tools. So if you are a musician, or if you're familiar with electronic music or writing music electronically, a lot of people use Finale or Sibelius, but Noteflight and Flat are both available web-based on Chromebooks. And so that's really awesome. You can do collaborative music writing. They've got full orchestrations in there. And then this, A Break in the Road is a website I just found recently from a student. And what happens on this website is you basically are going on a little tour. It's like a little game. But what happens is that you record or sample sounds out in the world, and then you bring them into a studio and you're able to record. And it works kind of like a game, although it really is like a Soundtrap or a Soundation kind of tool. You're taken through it as a story almost, which is really cool. And so music was a huge thing for us. Our kids are working really hard also to play live music and get that on their portfolios. We use Jam Zone for like essentially like private lessons for kids to go in and learn like harmonica, ukulele, or they do modern band instruments like drum set, bass, guitars. So we've had a lot of fun trying to get that stuff onto their portfolios. Like I said, that's their main job for me. And then the last bunch of things I just wanted to quickly share. My kids started getting into video game design. These are 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. They all said that they wanted to create video games themselves. And so we started off with Game Star Mechanic. And they began, it's kind of like a little anime story. And then the kids are playing some games, some really basic games. And then they start editing those games and revising those games. And before you know it, they're building their own games. Kids then introduced me to GameFruit and FlowLab, which are both really great tools. Again, this is all single sign-in with Google on Chromebooks. It works fabulously. You do have to make sure, sometimes with Flash that's up and running and working all right, but that's pretty simple to do. And then the kids are able to design and create their own games, which has been a ton of fun. But for me, the goal is always about sharing. Like I'm all about audience and purpose. So whatever my students are doing, I'm constantly trying to get that out to another audience, to share that with other people. Our favorite way to do that is with Screencastify. So with Screencastify, you essentially can create a video of what's on your screen, and also you can annotate and draw on top of it. Once you've got that video, it's really easy to share it on Google Sites, Blogger. You can also use Flipgrid. My favorite thing to share with all teachers is Comments for Kids. I learned a long time ago that if we don't become a great audience for others, we will never have a great audience for ourselves. And so Comments for Kids is just a way to share the work that your students are doing with other educators and other students, and to kind of collaborate and get some comments going back and forth and build some relationships. So that's kind of the down low. I would love, if we have time, if I could just show a little bit in Google Drawings about how that vector art works.
Chris,
are we good on time?
We would love that, but can I ask you a question first?
Of course, yeah.
Talk a little bit about the fees for CoSpaces.
Sure. I actually have just been having kids do it's like a freemium, kind of like the books that or the book creator that Austin was sharing. And so for us, usually what's been happening is they're able to get in there and just do like a little bit for free. But I haven't actually paid any fees for that. Makes me wonder.
That's really good news.
So yeah, making VR, but yeah. So yeah, we were able to just we would just go to log in, and then typically we were able to just log in with our Google accounts and go for it. Let's see here. Yeah, I did create a class account, and so I created my class that my kids can join. But yeah, they were able to come in and work for free. We haven't paid a dime yet. And so I'm not sure if there's like a certain amount. Oh, there it is right there. I've got 13 out of my 30 seats occupied. Maybe if I go past that. Let's see. Yeah.
It sounds similar to a lot of the other tools that we use. I'm sure we can all dig in on our own. Let's see the vector drawing.
For sure. So the thing about the drawings that was really neat was that it's such a simple thing to do, but it's really frustrating. And so the kids had to kind of deal with that. And that was the skill that I really was after. So what happens is the way we did it anyway, was we just started with some image. So we would, you could just do a little quick search. And like I said, we started with really simple things. So I don't know, I'll just try like a cartoon robot, right? And so you bring in your little simple, whatever it is, excuse me. And then what we would do is just kind of pull it off to the side a little bit, because in drawings and slides, you can use that side space for all kinds of great things. And then here's how it basically works. You take your little guy, or whatever it is, and then we use the drawing tools, the line tools, and basically Polyline tool is the tool that seemed to work the best for me with this. And basically here's what we would do. So with that Polyline tool, you get your little crosshairs there, and then you would just click and just slide over and click. And basically what I'm trying to do here is just draw this little guy's head, and I'm doing a not so fabulous job, but Trying to be kind of quick here. And as soon as you snap that together, you get a shape. Now, once you have a shape, you got to get your regular little arrow here. And then what I'm going to do on my keyboard is I'm going to actually be holding, I think it's Shift, that lets me slide it right across. And then see, even if my little cursor is going up and down, my shape still slides straight across. So I can't really mess it up. Then what happens is you keep doing that. So you just keep on adding to those bits and pieces. Now, when it gets frustrating is if you're doing this work and you're trying to do a little tiny part, like if you do a little tiny part and you just click too close, like I just did right there, you've now made a line and there's no way to connect it or fix it up or get it back. You have to start over. And that's extremely frustrating for the people who are trying to do the work, which is the whole point of the assignment. Because what I was trying to do is get kids to really stick with something when they're frustrated. My kids quit so fast, but they really wanted to be able to do this. So if you have the skill to be able to just connect up a little shape, you can do this. But if you're too close or you double click or something, you have a line and there's no way to fix that or recoup from it. So the kids kept on having to try and then restart or delete and keep working. And at first they all wanted to quit. But then about 2 or 3 weeks later, the math teachers were calling me up and being like, hey, Mr. Moore, how come all of our students are tracing things in Google Drawings during math class? And I was like, yes, because they're sticking with a task and they're actually going to finish it even when it's frustrating, which for me was a huge big deal and became a big part of what I've been trying to do with my kids ever since. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah.
Love it. Thanks so much for sharing all of that, Chris. Everybody in the chat is just bubbling over about Google Drawings. And Amanda actually posted for us that side space in drawings and slides is called off canvas.
Off canvas.
Yes,
there you go.
So now we all have a term to use for off canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share again. And sorry about that. You already know that all of the resources can be found at edtech.team/creative Chromebooks. I'm totally blown away tonight by all the things that I need to go and try tomorrow, and there aren't enough hours in the day to try it all. So we asked you to complete a form to win a free online course with EdTechTeam. We call it EdTechTeam U, and these are 15-hour courses that are flexible. You can take at your own pace. There is one for Google Drawings and Slides, and there's the one that Austin Hauck was talking about earlier, the Chromebook parts. I invite you to learn more and stay connected with EdTechTeam. Follow us on Twitter, use the hashtag EdTechTeam, join our global community on Google+, and visit us at edtechteam.com. This webinar will remain archived for as long as YouTube will archive it. In that slide deck, you have a link to the archived webinar. I'm going to post a link to the archive chat with all of the hyperlinks that I posted in there for you. Feel free to request a workshop or any one of the presenters that were on the webinar tonight if you're looking to get more about creativity with Chromebooks. And if you need a PD certificate for tonight, the link is there for you as well. So June 6th will be the next teaching and learning webinar. Amanda will be your moderator that evening, Improving Student Writing. So join us on June 6th for that webinar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a website called Name Picker Ninja, and I copy and pasted all the names from the Google form in there. I'm going to go ahead and click go, and we'll see who wins the online course. It is Lindsay Shields. I can't seem to copy it. So Lindsay, what's going to happen is I am going to send you an email right after this webinar. And I want to thank everybody for coming this evening and thank our webinar panelists, Amanda, Austin, and Chris. I don't know if there's anything that you feel like you forgot and you just got to add it in before we end the call. Nope.
Thank you so much, though.
because they packed it in. So thank you once again. Everything will be archived. It'll be on the blog tomorrow. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on Google Plus and Twitter. And panelists, say goodnight.
Hey, night. Thank you guys.
Bye.